Hello, I'm Daphne Good. Welcome to Go Island, Cowichan Valley. We are in an absolute oasis, the garden of Sylvia Scott. Sylvia is one of the expert gardeners involved with the Cowichan Valley Garden Club, and we'll be meeting two experts today to tell us more about the flower show and the plant sale coming up on May 10th. Well, this particular property was featured in a Disney movie called Zapped, and you will see why when you take a look at this glorious paradise. On today's show, we will be sharing a Cowichan Valley paradise with you, and we'll meet Linnea Bruce, a singer and actress who is skipping down the yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz, and edible arrangements. All that on Go Island, Cowichan Valley.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Sylvia Scott has lived all over the world: Lima, Peru, Caracas, Venezuela, Paris, and Singapore. She's gardened in a lot of tropical places, but her favorite gardening has taken place in the Cowichan Valley. As a member of the Cowichan Valley Garden Club, she'll be enjoying the annual flower show and plant sale on May 10th. No doubt, she'll be sharing her gardening tips.
I had to learn everything. I made many mistakes, and I still am making mistakes. But I prefer this gardening to the tropical gardening. It's much more interesting, I would think, yes.
Is this a terrific area for gardeners to work in, the soil of the Cowichan Valley?
Oh, yes. I would say it's the best anywhere.
Well, that's a good recipe for success.
I think the Pacific Northwest is probably the best place to garden.
You have an enormous array of unusual flowers, and I know are plants, and shrubs and trees. I know you said you prefer unusual textures and colors. How do you learn about them? Because if they're unusual, one would think they'd be hard to find.
Well, yes, they are hard to find, but they are out there. It took me a few years to learn where to go to buy plants. I have a few gardening friends who like the same things that I do, and we make an annual trip to Vancouver, to the mainland, and we buy a lot of our plants there. And I just look. Every nursery that I pass, my car turns into, and I just look, and there's always something there that's interesting.
Sylvia, you seem like a good person to ask this question. You know, a lot of people rely on gardening books, and some people have dozens and even more than that. Is that a good technique, or do you think it can bog a person down after a while to try and figure out, without being overwhelmed, how should I plant my garden?
Well, I've got a few books that are really, really good, and I've got a lot of books that haven't helped me much at all. I find that the internet is a really good source for information now, and I do still use my books, maybe a half dozen books. And other than that, I just go to the internet and find all the answers there.
Enjoying Sylvia Scott's garden, you can't help but notice this is a garden that has been enjoyed by many. There are many places to sit and enjoy the garden. There's a garden swing which has a perfect view of Cowichan Lake. People enjoy archery, and Sylvia's grandchildren have spent many happy hours in the elaborate fort and using the rope bridge, all built by Sylvia's husband, Gordon. There's even a home-built zip line.
I try to have it very kind of serene.
It is.
I like for people to feel good when they're in the garden. Most of the time I just see work, but when people come, I think that they feel very good and want to linger, so I think that's what I like most about it.
You hit on a really critical question for me. If I were looking at this property, as beautiful as it is, I would feel probably overwhelmed about the amount of work. How do you handle that?
Well, I try just to focus on one area at a time and not look at anything else.
Yeah, good idea.
And if I can just do that one area when I'm out, and then that satisfies me, and then the next day I go on to another little square of the garden, and it takes me a long time. It takes me, well, it's a never-ending job,
Yes.
really.
Now, one of the aspects of garden clubs that people love is the ability to trade and share information. Is it one of the attractions for you?
Definitely, definitely. I belong to the Cowichan Valley Garden Club for over 20 years now. And I can honestly say that I learn something almost every time I go to a meeting, either from the speaker, usually from the speaker, and oftentimes just chatting with other members. So it's definitely a great source of information and a great social event also, I would think, yes.
The Cowichan Garden Club's annual flower show and plant sale happens on Saturday, May 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Duncan United Church. For details on the event or to join the club, go to the website cowichanvalleygardenclub.com. We'll be back after the break with more to enjoy in the garden and to introduce you to edible plant displays with Esther Craig. We're still on the beautiful property of Sylvia Scott, and I have another expert, Esther Craig, and she's the convener of the Cowichan Valley Garden Club show and sale, May 10th from 10 until 2 at the Duncan United Church. Hi, Esther.
Hi there.
Now, I know you know a lot about growing vegetables because you grew up on a farm and it seems nothing would stump you. But first we're going to talk about this gorgeous flower arrangement because simple and elegant seems to always be a winner, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And you've got carnations and gerberas, and tell us about what's over there.
The astomeria, and that commonly grown in Hawaii and that sort of thing, and the horsetail, which grows wild in different places. You certainly don't want this in your garden, and that, and then of course the salal leaves, and just put it all together and try to make something that is very elegant. This is a decorative arrangement, and that there's a decorative section in our show, and people enter and that with competition, and it's judged, of course, and of course everyone's after the blue ribbon and the little and the little prize, and that we have about 50 people usually that enter the show, and we're hoping we get that kind of a response this year as well.
Is it pretty competitive?
It is quite competitive. Over the 3 or 4 people that enter every year, and it is very competitive.
So where do the judges come from, Esther?
The judges come from the Vancouver Island Master Gardeners and Association and judges, and they're headquartered in Vancouver, or Victoria, pardon me, and some of them come from Victoria, some from Nanaimo, and actually one I think lives in Mill Bay.
Oh, that's good to know.
But they make an early start and come up and judge our show.
That's terrific. Well, I do know one thing. Master gardeners are like the guru for most gardeners. You could ask them anything. I don't think you can stump them on anything because they're obviously highly trained.
They are trained. They have a 1-year course down at the university, and then they do an apprenticeship where they work with other master gardeners doing things exactly like they're going to do at our show, and answering questions for the public, and that they go to all the different events over the island.
Great. Well, let's get into talking about this, because I know a highlight this year at the Cowichan Valley Garden Club show are the edibles, and it's hard to believe looking at this. The whole thing is edible.
Pretty well everything is edible. The only thing that isn't are these little white flowers here, and but everything else. I've got the asparagus, and that's some peas, and that's some variegated mustard. And kale, of course, 2 different kinds of kale. And actually the kale blossoms, when they're in bud like theirs, are edible. And we tucked in a little bit of apple, some nasturtiums, and some violas.
And some little tiny cherry tomatoes?
Yeah,
or...
cherry tomatoes and peppers. And
Beautiful.
Of course, these peppers here, you have to be very careful when you're eating them raw because they'll give you a little bit of a zap. But that's what keeps it interesting.
Is there more of a move toward edibles, do you think?
Pardon me?
More of a move toward edibles?
Oh,
Things?
a lot of people are doing these kind of things and that. And this is just sort of to demonstrate. And that I don't know if a lot of people arrange flowers with it. And that, but we like to experiment and challenge ourselves to what we can do.
Well, you've got some gorgeous colors in there, and I know you're going to give us a bit of a demo with this piece over here, which is partially, it started anyway. And you
partially done and that sort of thing. We've got just some leaf lettuce around the edge and a bit of cilantro here, and one of the mustard and a kale. Now we'll just put another couple of kale in here just to put the base color.
And wow, kale's really taken off. It's become sort of the darling of the vegetable
darling.
patch.
It's where broccoli was 2 years ago, now it's kale. And then on top of this, we just put in a few little salad greens. And you can actually do this when you're serving dinner for your guests. That little tomatoes.
That's a really lovely idea. You know, a little appetizer, a little salad.
Little salad.
That's far more dressy. Love that idea. And it's so simple. You're showing us how simple it is.
And then, you know, some little snap peas in to carry out the green theme.
Love that. And Esther, you were saying to me, you grew up on a farm and you grow a lot of fruits and vegetables yourself. You recommend that?
I do, and it's so rewarding to be able to go out in your backyard or in your garden and pick dinner or pick a bit of dinner out there. And then we'll just throw in a little pepper here. And
I love the color.
just to add some more color to it, and we'll get the tomatoes to bounce off the other end.
So we will no doubt see some very creative ideas at the
I think you probably
event.
will. We have some members that are really, really crafty, as well as being experienced gardeners. And you just I just thread a little toothpick into these and go, and then of course the radish and that garden radish. I just cut these and made little radish roses and that, and we can just put them in as the highlight of the arrangement.
You made it look so easy.
And a few more little garden greens to.
That is
salad
beautiful.
greens to-
It's a Cowichan Valley forest. And
It's-
really nutritious.
Cowichan Valley Forest. Well, it's a garden forest, and there you are.
That is beautiful. So we want to remind people at the Cowichan Valley Garden Club plant sale and flower show that there will be lots to see. You can have your questions answered. I like that part with all the master gardeners. You'll see a lot. You'll be able to see some winning combinations and have a little munch along the way. What do you do with all these beautiful edibles afterwards?
Well, I'm going to end up having this for dinner.
I think it's a fabulous idea. Yeah. Thanks so much, Esther, and best of luck with the show.
You're welcome.
The Cowichan Garden Club will feature a special presentation by Jeff DeJong, CFAX 1070's Gardening 101 host. Enjoy the event on Saturday, May 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Duncan United Church. There will be a wide variety of raffle prizes with proceeds to the Providence Farm Therapeutic Garden for New Tools. From herb planters to hanging baskets and Mother's Day flower arrangements, the raffle tickets will be sold for $3 for 2 tickets. We'll take a small break next, and then we'll be back with a profile of Linnea Bruce, who has already entertained on many Vancouver Island stages with her music. Now she is about to dance down the Yellow Brick Road in Kahatsa Lakeside Players' production of The Wizard of Oz. Get your tickets for The Wizard of Oz at Footwear Centre in Lake Cowichan or the Michaela Davidson Art and Gift Gallery in Duncan. The show runs from May 6th to the 11th with a special matinee and tea on Mother's Day starting at 2 p.m. At Sylvia Scott's amazing varied garden, It may be hard to believe that there aren't any landscape or gardening professionals employed. Sylvia plants and maintains this garden on her own.
I think half an acre maybe.
I think so. And if you added
Yes.
up all the plantings, there must be some that are more mature, that have been here for some years. And are you always planting new things?
Not anymore. I realized that I created a monster and I have to stop now. But I'm always changing the beds, so they never really stay the same. I'm always changing them, and when something doesn't perform very well, it goes to the compost, and then I have the opportunity to buy something new. So yes, it's always evolving.
I like the fact that you said that you also participate in trial and error, because I think a lot of people are a bit intimidated by gardening. They think they have to know a huge amount and they don't want to make mistakes. I guess we've all made mistakes. Put a plant in the wrong place.
Yes, yes. I don't know any gardener, no matter how experienced or knowledgeable, that hasn't made a lot of mistakes. It's just, that's part of gardening. And putting plants in the wrong place is very common. And then realizing that it's not happy, so you move it, and then it might be happier there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, making mistakes is just part of gardening.
Why does Sylvia think it's a good idea to attend the Cowichan Valley Garden Club event on Saturday, May 10th?
I think that people should go because it shows the very best plants, the very best gardeners and their plants are displayed, and people can learn what kind of plants do well here, which is very important. It's a good source of inspiration. And the plant sale is a great place to find unique plants. There's a lot of ordinary, I would call ordinary plants, which are just fine and do well here. But you can often find some really special things also.
With fish and frogs, hummingbirds, bee and bird-friendly plantings, we asked Sylvia Scott if she is proud of her contribution to a healthy ecosystem.
Definitely, yes. Yes, we really enjoy watching the wildlife in the garden, and the grandchildren just love coming in and looking at the frogs and the fish, and yeah, so it makes us very happy to see everything. And everything, you know, we have hummingbirds that stay here year-round. The same family has been here for several years now, and it's just unbelievable what little things give you pleasure.
The Cowichan Garden Club Flower Show and Plant Sale happens on Saturday, May 10th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Duncan United Church. Check the website under events for all details, CowichanValleyGardenClub.com.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, we hope you've been as inspired as we have been today in the garden of Sylvia Scott and visiting with Esther Craig, and that you'll enjoy the Cowichan Valley Garden Club show coming up. We want to remind you as well that we love your story ideas, so be sure to get a hold of us on Facebook or Twitter and enjoy the scenery. Until next time, thanks for joining us.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Women's clothing provided by Tulip Noir. Casual designer fashions. Men's wardrobe by DG Bremner & Co. Menswear and accessories. Hair services provided by Salon J.